Excuse me.
You had just, enjoined me not to buy Amazon's cheap crap, and I said I had not. Then it went blank. So I didn't hear anything beyond that.
You went blank.
Well, on my end, both of them went blank. So there is that.
I just wanted to make sure when I hear I went to Black Friday sale, I think Best Buy, Target, Walmart, people who go do that bullshit. So that's
I never leave the house. I just go say, ooh, what cool role-playing stuff can I get on the cheap?
Yeah, but I don't really think there are that many people. Well, I shouldn't say that. I haven't been to a mall or a store on Black Friday in a very long time. And last time I was forced at gunpoint, and that was like 12 years ago, maybe longer. So I was talking about online. Because it's the same shit, essentially. With Cyber Monday, it's just, here's all the cheap shit we didn't manage to sell over the weekend.
Well, it's true. Now, what I ended up spending it on, I haven't gotten most of it yet, because mail service being what mail service is. But Monty Cook Games, who I bought some of their odd-looking role-playing stuff because it inspires me as a writer. I've just going through the games and going, ooh, that's pretty cool. I wonder if I could, twist an element like that and make it useful in my stories, and I've done so. So
you thief, you fucking thief.
That's not thievery. Any writer will tell you that's exactly what they do. They get inspired by something and then they go ahead and make their own version of it.
Bullshit. All my ideas are fucking original and only mine. I have never put anything I've ever seen into any of my books.
It's this buzzing noise in my ear and this terrible smell. What could that be? Smell of bullshit and flies buzzing around. But they have a product that it was too expensive for me to get. I'll be honest. I saw it. I thought, oh, that sounds pretty cool, but I just could never talk myself into getting it because with a game, when the PDF of the game is $99, it's too much.
Holy shit!
But
yeah,
it's called Invisible Sun, and it's this weird, strange, twisted, mystic, behind the reality type game.
Okay.
And when they did the Kickstarter for it years ago, before I even knew they existed, and they still had some on hand, but $300 or more for the box set of all the really cool stuff and books and whatnot.
Jesus,
just too much for my blood. Yeah, so when they had a half off on sale on Black Friday, and they said, "Oh, we've got a few more of the Black Sun black cubes or Invisible Sun black cubes that are being shipped in from overseas, and once they're gone, they're gone." I'm like, oh, should I get them? Okay. So I went ahead and I got that and all of the other various books that they've put out with it. So I spent a fair chunk of money with them that I'll take pictures of when they come back. I should grab one of the books and show you some strange art. I haven't even looked at the strange art, but I am quite confident that there is strange art inside of these.
You're quite confident.
I will stick my face down the hall here and grab one because one box out of them has showed up today, right before the show.
All right.
Haven't had a chance to even crack the covers on any of them and look at them. But they also, I was looking, somebody in one of the online chat areas where they were talking about this on Discord was saying, oh yeah, they back years ago when they did the Kickstarters for two of their things, they did the box sets and whatnot. You can't find those anymore. And so I went out on the web, and lo and behold, I found some of their box sets that you can't get anymore at a game store. Apparently somebody had stole their stash. So I dropped money down and bought those without even blinking.
Huh. Well, okay then.
So quite the stash of things coming in. But let me grab one of these books and we'll flip a random art here and see what Paul thinks.
Paul thinks there must be an invisible sun, gives its heat to everyone. There has to be an invisible sun. Keeps this hope when the whole day's done.
Let's see here. We'll flip this open and see if something truly spooky just jumps out at us here. Okay, that first picture, that qualifies as odd. Let's see if I can get this on the screen.
Okay. Gotcha. Very surrealist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Very surrealist type stuff.
Surrealist and bizarro. So basically your character can run around with 5 different ears or whatever.
Apparently. Ooh, that's cool too. I have no idea what any of this stuff is, but the art in these books is one of the things that really grabs me. But yeah, that's been my day. That's been my weekend.
This is a terrible weekend, sounds like.
It was. What else did I do? I've spent the last 4 days running around doing household chores, replacing the awning on the gazebo that got all torn up by the windstorm we had. The wife decided if we got a cold snap that she wanted to have some firewood. So going out, buying some firewood, and then unloading the truck and stacking it at the back of my house. Probably about a quarter cord of wood.
I would say based on last February, that's not a bad idea.
I don't think it's a bad idea either. I'm not complaining about it. The wood was pretty damn pricey this year.
I'm pretty sure everybody in Houston especially is going to be like, yeah, firewood's starting to look pretty good.
Yeah,
we don't want to go through that shit again.
The place that we bought it from said that last week is when they ran out of the season stuff that they'd had all year. So the stuff we got is about 4 months old, which that's fine. It's 4 months old is still perfectly serviceable. But he said in 2 weeks that'll all be gone too, and there'll be nothing.
I can see that. At that point, you're just going to be down to Duraflame logs.
Mm-hmm. He said by Thanksgiving, it's all gone. That's the way it works. They spend the year, chopping wood and doing whatever they're going to do. And then there's an orgy of wood selling at the end of the year, and then it's done. And then
they don't start again until next year. Yeah. Pretty much how it goes.
I need to get my ass back to writing. Or at least, reading through. I decided that doing a single pass with Dragon just wasn't going to cut it for me. So I'm giving the 7 chapters I'd already written in the book another go through before I write the next one. Because I just wasn't happy with, as unproofed as they were, I wasn't pleased with that for the patrons. So I'll fix that.
I was averaging about 3,500 words a day on the Black Oceana. I have not gotten back to the novel I'm supposed to be writing. The one I've already sold. I haven't been working.
Oh, who cares about that one? The money's in the bank.
There's some truth in that. So I'm working my ass off trying to get Oceana done so that I can release it to the patrons on Fiendmas. It'll be my Fiendmas present to them. It will not go on the regular podcast anytime soon. So it will be a Patreon exclusive for the time being, but that means I've got to once I get this GTI shit put to bed, I'm going to have to write like a fucking madman between now and probably the 20th, because I'll have to record 4 episodes at least. Okay. I like it. Terry just showed me a picture of a person whose skull had been folded down to their scalp had been folded down and their skull completely absent from the top so you could see their brain.
And they were behaving as if it was perfectly normal.
Oh, yeah. Behaving as if.
So, yeah, I don't know anything about this Invisible Sun, but it seems like it's going to be quite the interesting read. I'm
thinking you're going to need some psychedelics just to play that. That's what I'm thinking. Did it come with its own 3 hits of acid?
I'm not sure that being on acid while playing a surrealistic game would actually be a help, because
never know until you try.
I can only imagine what that would do to something that's already whacked out.
There's no telling.
It might look completely normal at that point. I don't get it, man. It looks normal.
Yeah, all Dali's paintings look normal to you. Yeah. That's when you know you're fucked up. You might need some help. Oh, God. So how are you going to get your ass back in the chair?
I spent some time today doing some reading, and I need to finish up doing the rereading. It's going to take another day or two to wrap it up and get to producing new words. But I've already written between 20 and 25% of the book, so I'm pretty satisfied with the opening. As soon as I hit the new words, it'll flow. I already have an idea of where I'm going and what I'm doing, which is somewhat rare for me.
That usually
as I get
helps.
to this part of the book. Usually, I don't really have an idea of what the mid to end is going to look like, but I've already got ideas about things that I'm going to do, which is somewhat rare for me.
Yes, it is somewhat rare for you. One thing we have not seen in the Black series is a whole bunch of these puppies running around free. Like outside of a building. Now, Oceania takes place on the Duke of York Islands, which is essentially a slowly sinking, flooding rainforest. So I have a couple of options here, which is to make them fight a sea creature that is M2, and then go on shore and find out that it's spread to other people, and there's other infectious folks running around, or animals for that matter. If I do that, this book's going to get a lot bigger. But then we can have jungle chases.
Look here, sport. The day that Paul Cooley starts worrying about a book is getting too large is the day that the sun is in danger of going out.
That is absolutely not true. That is absolute bullshit, and you know it. Absolute bullshit, and you know.
No, but it's the line I'm going to stick to, and it's all your friends stick to the same line. So
yeah,
good luck with that.
Yeah, you should have seen the comment on Twitter. I think it was from Charlie Brown. He's like, yeah, you're going to get through 30,000 words and they'll just start the mission. It's like, fuck you. Well, we're 13,000 words in.
You say it's not true, and maybe that's true in the very most literal sense of the word, but you always say the same thing, so it sounds like it's true.
It's a typical thing. I think something's only going to go for 60,000 words, and then suddenly it just gets a whole lot bigger. And there's a lot of things I was like, oh, I guess I should talk about that. Oh, I guess I should do that. Oh, I guess I should do this. And then pretty soon, it's another 20 or 30 grand. But I don't have the time to make this a 100,000 word book. I just don't have the fucking time.
You got to tell the story that wants to be told, sport. That's the way it works.
It's just a question of, okay, so with the black, it either eats you or infects you. If it infects you with a very, very, very small amount that then slowly takes over your body, okay? Which takes like a while. Not too long, but it takes a little while. So then how did these people get infected and not eaten?
Maybe it's a vegetarian M2.
Terry, shut the fuck up. It's omnivorous by nature, you douchebag. It'll even eat wood. It didn't care. I have some ideas about how to do it, but we may need to talk about those offline. But basically, I had this idea last night. I've been working crazy hours, so I went to bed at like 11:30 last night and woke up at 4 so I could get the rest of this migration done. Anyway, so if I'm a little out of it, please forgive me.
man. You know I'm not going to be worried about it.
Yeah. So like 11:30 last night, as I was trying to drift off while trying to forget code. I had this image of this team being chased by like 4 or 5 M2 creatures, which I thought would just be absolutely ridiculously fun. Because chasing them through a jungle and they're actually hunting, that we've never seen that before. And it certainly seems like that would be definitely a break from the whole bottle stories the last 4 books have been. Didn't I say there were only going to be 5 black books? Here in North Oceania?
Guess what? Nobody believed you in the first place, so I don't know why you're worried about it.
Anyway, so yeah, I've got that decision to make, and that will definitely complicate things. But I went looking at underwater guns. That was fascinating. The only one that has ever really worked was made by the Russians in the 60s, and it was made to take out frogmen. It doesn't fire bullets, it fires bolts. And it has a range of like 10 or 15 yards, 10 or 15 meters, I guess.
That's like the James Bond movie with them chasing each other with spear guns.
Yeah, it's exactly that, except it will go through armor. These will go through armor. These go through brick walls. These go through everything. So I basically near futured that because I just looked at it and was like, wow, this is crazy. I'd never even heard of this thing. But it just takes bolts. And I was shocked. I was like, okay, I know guns can fire underwater, but of course, water screws up the trajectory, water screws up the ballistics, and water screws up is obviously going to slow the bullet down very rapidly. These things, not so much.
Did you ever see the Weapons of Hollywood? I think the show was Weapons of Hollywood show where they did the whole shooting underwater to see how that worked out for them. Didn't
work out well?
No, not well at all. They basically had a weapons specialist in a wetsuit get into the water and shoot at a windshield of a car, and he could not get it to bust through the windshield from being outside of it.
Right. Yeah, it's like that. Water adds a whole different dimension of problems. I mean, in space, nothing slows down. You fire it, and that's pretty much it. It's gone. Water, not so much. Water is the opposite of space in that regard. Actually, it's the opposite of space in every regard, except for the fact that it has no oxygen, which isn't even true either, because technically water is H2O is oxygen in there. But that's splitting hairs. Regardless, no pressure in space, tons of pressure underwater, resistance, no resistance, being able to survive without a suit. Kind of different animals. And then you got us terrestrial bozos, and our world doesn't match either of those worlds, which is interesting in and of itself if you think about it. I can't imagine an alien species being at home in all biomes. Wouldn't that be odd? Physically able to exist in all those biomes without any kind of protection?
They would almost have to have the ability to modify their body to suit the environment rather than having a single form that would work in all of them, because that just doesn't work out.
Yeah, I think you're right. Sigler had the Roctopi in his Earth Core books, and they were essentially blobs with bladders inside them that they could constantly change and shift the amount of fluid to change shape. And that's how they got around as well. It's how they managed to locomote. Wow. I'm a writer.
You has invented new words.
I has invented new word. I heard a streamer say infinitesimal the other day, and he didn't know if that was a real word.
It is.
Well, then he posted, when he edited the video, he put the definition up there while he was saying he didn't know if it was a word. It's pretty funny. It's how they move. That's how they move. They have to form pseudopods, pseudofeet, the whole 9 yards in order to move. That kind of body is going to be much more capable of dealing with pressure, no pressure, I would think. Of course, and then, of course, it depends on how they breathe, how much life support can their body hold, so to speak, before they have to re-up.
One of the problems with talking about the different biomes is, we'll start with the middle ground. You're here on Earth. It feels like you're just trotting along in the world, absolutely free and clear. It's just not the case. You're actually at the bottom of the atmospheric well. So you've got, 16 PSI on your body at all times, every square inch?
Something like that.
Something along those lines. So you've got pressure that's on your body.
And gravity.
Yep, and gravity. But if you've ever seen, I've seen this, people do this here. They take a vacuum pump and hook it up to a 55-gallon drum and start pumping the air out. And the thing just crumples. And if you don't know how this works, you'll say, oh, well, it's just because they pulled the air out and the suction pulled the thing together. No, it's the pressure on the outside crushing that can. Once the interior pressure of the air inside is removed, your body generates pressure on the inside, pushing out to create an equilibrium so that we can live in this environment that we've grown up in. If you go up into space, suddenly the exterior pressure is gone. If you go to the bottom of the ocean, suddenly the exterior pressure is significantly more than what you've got. So I just don't see how a single form could manage to deal with even the pressure differential.
I almost think that would have to be a bioengineered life form. I can't even fathom why a creature would evolve that way. I mean, I could see two biomes. I could see terrestrial and water. We already have that.
We've got amphibians. They work.
Yeah, but if you throw space in there, then it gets kind of crazy.
Considering that they've got nothing to sustain themselves.
Plus, you have to actually leave the atmosphere. So how could you evolve? I mean, it would have to be a bioengineered life form, I think. I think that's the only way I could do it. Now, you could have a species that bioengineered themselves as a whole to maybe escape the planet they more or less wrecked, or something, maybe solar problems, sun collapsing, things like that might drive a species to do something like that, so that they could basically live if they didn't have other technology, or maybe they don't think of spaceships the same way we do. Maybe everything's biomechanical and always has been.
Now, I'm not quite sure how that would be, because the mechanical part would have to be generated by something that did not exist in that form. So maybe the species was biomechanical from the very beginning, but they did not create themselves.
Correct. Or the people who engineered the species were originally of the species, but they knew they were going to die out. And so that's why they bioengineered the next generation. And then from then on, it was just generation after generation of biomechs.
Depending on the series that you read, there's been a number of different ones that have talked about a species evolving itself to meet what they wanted to be their new living locale, whether that be the next plane of existence, whether that was some kind of energy form, whether that was living in space, whether that's living on a planet of triple gravity of what they can sustain now. There is all kinds of stories about beings changing their own nature in order to survive in a new environment.
Yeah, and then you've got the symbiote. You got the possibly a symbiotic organism that allows you to do some of those things. That also changes you. A lot of science fiction about that as well.
So you could have
Venom, for instance.
Maybe symbiote is not the right word of what I'm thinking for here, but something maybe a bit more parasitic, that it controls hosts in different environments. It controls ocean hosts. It controls land hosts. It controls sky hosts. It's in charge. It's its thought patterns. It's not giving anything. It's taking from everybody.
Yeah, now you're talking about the Peter F. Hamilton book. That's actually in the Commonwealth series, where the massive hive mind has taken over planets and planets and planets and planets, and basically is coordinating everything, which is a terrifying idea if you think about it. A mind that's capable of talking, communicating, and organizing logistics and everything else of millions of drones. That's a terrifying idea.
Obviously, we need to start subverting those drones.
Well, these won't be flying drones. These would be like, ant drones, bee drones.
I know, but I'm saying, the way to take on an empire like that is to find ways to start cutting into their drone supply.
Yeah, disrupt the communication, which would be the ultimate. Because then all hell breaks loose and everything falls apart because the things don't know how.
It's like infecting the Borg hive mind.
Yeah, exactly. Once the hive mind goes bye-bye, everything is pretty much on the table because there's no control. And so what happens to the drones? And the other units? Do they start fighting one another? Does somebody else try and take over as the hive mind? Is there some other kind of evolutionary process to fix that? It's an interesting problem. It's an interesting problem to solve. Stupid writers. Why do we create problems for ourselves?
Because we loves them.
It's like our jobs or something. Would you write a book like that?
I could see writing something like that. In kind of fact, there are elements that aren't so far off in the series that I'm currently writing.
Hmm.
I can't really speak to the details, but there are aliens in this that are not really disclosed in the first book, but that I have ideas about. And some of the ideas I have about them, they may not be exactly what we're talking about, but there are elements that are shared.
The hive mind idea is one that makes perfect sense because we see it in insects colonies. We are actually seeing it more and more in computers, of having a single controller that's got multiple multiple nodes that it manages, but those nodes are independent to a certain degree. They get their orders and they go and carry them out, and then they let mama know when they're done. That's very, very similar to a hive mind, except it's not as loosely coupled, for lack of a better term. But still,
there have been a number of things that I've read where there's a hive mind, yes, but there are independent units that exist at the highest level of the hive mind that control swaths of the drones, but not all of them.
Yeah, that would be basically the queen creating some soldiers or whatever to manage the drones while she works on reproduction.
Well, the one I don't remember which book series that I was thinking about, but in this case, you've got the queen at the top, but you've got the princesses, the queens in waiting, that also control a big swath of drones that work on the same goals that the queen mother is setting out. So they're like the daughters that are carrying out the will of the mother through the drones. As writers, we don't have to mimic nature precisely. We can make our own variants of it. And having, I don't know, a rogue princess drone commander to deal with would be a real problem for a hive mind.
Oh, you think?
I think it might be. Just based on the series where that happened. Yes, I think that it might be.
It could cause some serious problems in the hive. A little friction here and there.
Now my drones go into the hive and sabotage.
Kill the queen! Kill the queens! I'll be your queen! Where have we seen that before?
There was another series that I also can't remember the name of where the Queen Mother had died. You are the
font of knowledge, man.
I know, I'm terrible about this. I remember ideas much more than specific works, but I remember the story about the war of succession between the princesses underneath the Queen Mother when the Queen Mother was gone to be the one that ascended, and the wars that took place between the various princesses to try to be the one.
Well, that's almost King Lear. Almost, but not quite.
King Lear, but with sentient ants.
Yeah. Okay, I could see that. Oh, God. I'm trying to remember the name of this. That's what it was called. EU social networking.
So you're saying the EU is a hive mind?
I'm saying if you know what EU social is, it has nothing to do with the European Union. You jackass.
I totally much rather would think of the European Union as a hive mind, because that would be a story to write about the hive mind that's trying to take over the earth, that was created in the European Union, and now every human is slowly being infected there and becoming part of the European Union hive mind.
And they're all speaking French.
Oh my God! That's no. I said they're trying to take over the world. We can't have the French taking over the world. They would just give up.
I didn't say they were French. I said everybody's speaking French.
Sorry, French people. I should not say that.
You should not, you ugly, ignorant American. Anyway.
No. Now that you brought it up, what would I have the European hive mind speaking?
Oh, Jesus. Esperanto.
It's not even real.
Actually, it is real. It's not.
Well, it's fake real, sort of. You realize how many people here don't know what Esperanto is?
If you don't know what Esperanto is, go look it up. It's an abortion of several European languages squashed together using a unified grammar that makes sense to nobody.
Okay. I think you've actually hit on it right there. That should be what the hive mind speaks. Perfect.
Exactly. It's just a mishmash of shit is what it is. But so is English, so I really can't speak.
No, English is apparently a mugging in progress.
It is a mugging.
Languages.
It's not even a mugging. It's just plain out theft. And then what they mug is they mug the grammar. Oh, yeah, let's fuck this all up. You go beat the shit out of this and hammer it so it works in our language.
Was it you that was telling me this, or somebody else that was telling me this, that King Henry wanted to make English difficult for the French, so he set out to make the rules of English grammar so difficult that the French would not be able to go ahead and easily pick it up?
I have not heard this.
If it's true, that would be really funny.
I don't think that's true, but it is amusing. It is amusing. Oh, God. That's frightening. I would say Daniel Webster did that for us in the United States, but, never mind that right now. Is it Daniel Webster? One of the Webster. The Webster dickhead who fucked up American English. Or created American English.
Surely not. There was probably never anybody that fucked up our language. We're great.
You keep dreaming. You just keep on dreaming that, buddy. Anyway, that sort of communication going back and forth. I mean, if you think about it, you could have a hive mind with quantum entangled with all the drones or whatever else, so you could have instantaneous communication going on back and forth. Isn't that a little frightening?
It's pretty frightening. And as writers, you've got to be careful not to make somebody too powerful. You can't make them unbeatable.
No.
And when you start talking instantaneous, distanceless communication, that can be a real problem. The story comes when you put the limitations in place.
That is correct. That is correct. One of the best limitations in the Derelict Saga is it takes hours to communicate back home. Even if if they're trying to talk to Earth from where they are, it's a long time between messages at light speed, several hours. So that created a lot of ins for me as a writer. Quantum entangled communication should be used, I think, very, very sparingly. Very sparingly. Because, yeah, it does create the capacity for everybody to know what's going on with everybody else at all times. Therefore, it makes it very difficult to write suspense. It makes it very, very difficult. But if you have that as the antagonist, then basically the protags have to figure out how to cut that off. So then we come up with new technology. How do we smash quantum entangled comms? Is there some kind of biological thing they're doing?
One of the things that Glenn Stewart did in one of his series is humanity was just wrapping up a war with an alien species that had conquered a fair chunk of reality. And they used these type of faster than light communications channels. And humanity assumed that they were tapping into something that was natural until they found out, no, they were somehow being artificially stabilized by the aliens when the aliens cut off those channels, and suddenly all this faster than light communication was gone.
Right. Right. And then everything has to change. It's just like
welcome to the age of sail.
Yeah, it's just like if the Nazis had figured out we had cracked the Enigma code, they would have changed it immediately, and would have gone through the same mess of trying to crack it again. Which is why they let a lot of people die, and things they could have prevented, attacks they could have prevented, because they were trying to protect that secret, that they knew the secret. What a horrible, horrible, awful position to be put in. We know 20,000 people are going to die tomorrow. Probably. We could stop it, but if we stop it, we'll lose the war.
Or we won't win the war as quickly, and more lives will be lost in the long run.
Yeah, even more lives will be lost in the process. It's a shit situation to be in. Another good one as a writer. What do I do? Do I let this town where my girlfriend lives get blown away, or do I try and stop it? If I try and evacuate anybody, is that going to be a tell to whomever? Do they have spies in the area? It's just a lot of crazy shit to go through. If you're going to write something about going on with the war, that's a pretty hefty situation to go through, bring up, put characters in. Here we go. One of these days, I'll figure out what the fuck it is I'm trying to say. Actually, don't hold your breath on that. Terry's shaking his head. Uh-huh. Do you have quantum entangled comms in your stuff?
I have it in Liberty Station, but I have them in Liberty Station, but they are very limited in number, i.e., I think they have 4 prototypes.
And that's not in the first book, right? That's in the second book.
It's okay. I think it comes in the second book. I have something like that in the Empire series, but it's also limited by range and distance.
Okay.
Carl Owlett, the scientist, is sure that it should not be limited by distance, but he's confident that they've gotten something wrong. And so the bastardized version that they are working with has a range limitation.
What kind of range?
The way transport works inside the Empire Bones is they use wormholes to get from one system to the other. The faster than light communication is faster than light in the system that you're in, and to the next system, it can go through a jump point, a flip point into another system that's far away at the same thing. But if you go through 2, you've probably gone too far. Your odds of actually communicating with somebody there are gone almost.
Okay. Still, entire systems or 2 systems worth of communication, that's pretty big.
It is a huge deal.
It's huge.
It is something that they're still struggling with how things work. They're having to build communication units that are linked pairs. So a ship can have one communication unit to another ship, not to all ships.
Right. So basically, you're talking about the command ships for each flotilla, for instance, having one.
Yeah, but if you want to have some redundancy, you're going to have more than one, because if you lose the command ship, then you're out.
Yeah.
But it's something like that. But it's also, again, in that universe, it's not very widespread, because technically that knowledge really only came about while they were away from home,
and they
to a degree, and the technology is still very much in its infancy.
Who'd they steal that tech from?
Carl Owlett developed it on his own, using bits and pieces of alien technology and some ideas. That's what geniuses do. They just put things together. He homebrewed it, man. He homebrewed it.
You make it sound like a savant, like engineers are savants.
This one scientist is pretty darn close. He's my guy that I use for, I need to introduce this new scientific thing. Poof. Here you go.
He's your cue.
He is indeed my cue.
He is your cue.
He got, it's like Veronica said, the audiobook for the latest book, Empire book, just came out. And Veronica said, Book 14 of the Empire is out. What has Carl Owlett got in his pockets?
Oh, God.
And the answer is he's been hanging around Marines too much, because he used a plasma grenade on something to solve a problem. And the princess is like, where did you get that? Where did you get that?
I made it.
It's like, no, he didn't make it. He stole it from the Marines is where he got it from.
Of course.
And his answer was, some problems are best solved by brute force and ignorance. Even Marines know that's true. And she's like, puts her hand up. The rest of them. Put the rest of them right here in my hand right now. Bad scientists, bad. But it's fun taking a character that's, he's your geeky, nerdy scientist, and he's been corrupted by the Marines, so he carries a plasma grenade around for emergencies. I like this.
What was that movie, Uncommon Valor? One of the characters has a grenade around his neck at all times. A live grenade.
Here's the way this works. It's not a live grenade until you pull the pin.
Okay, fine. A
functional grenade.
Functional grenade.
You're looking for one that is not a dummy round. It is an actual functional grenade. And as they taught me in the Army back in the 80s, once you pull the pin, Mr. Grenade is no longer your friend.
Hot potato. Hot potato. Hot potato. Did they make you throw grenades?
Absolutely, they did.
What's that like?
It is stressful. And they made it more stressful on purpose, because drill instructors are dicks, in case you didn't know this. This is part of their personality. They march us out to the grenade range, which basically is like a huge gravel pit, but it's got this berm in between where you're waiting and where they're doing the grenade throwing. And they're throwing away from the berm. So there's no danger if somebody's going to throw a grenade over the berm to where you are. They're aiming in the other direction. But they park you underneath an awning on some benches to wait your turn to go there. And it's got a galvanized tin roof. And the drill instructors are up there throwing, the grenade goes off and they'll throw gravel on top of it and tell you, oh, that's shrapnel.
Oh, come on.
Because that's how they roll. That's what they did. Then when you get out to the grenade range itself, you're basically down in a little pit, and you're throwing over a little wall to throw out into the area where the grenade is. And right. there's a drill instructor in the pit with you to make sure that if anything goes wrong, they're ready to handle it. They've got a hole dug at the far end where if a grenade drops into the pit, they can kick it into what they call a sump. And so it's not going to kill you when it goes off. And if there's a problem otherwise, the drill instructor is going to get you down below that blockage so that you're not in any danger.
Gotcha.
But it's still a very dangerous thing to throw a live grenade. And people, when they're put under stress, do the strangest damned things. The one that I remember from my unit went out there pulled the pin on the grenade, threw the pin, and dropped the grenade.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
I think I saw that cartoon. It didn't end well.
In this case, it ended up with the grenade being kicked into the sump and the drill instructor tackling the recruit
and then
to get him out of the way. Oh, I can only imagine the horrors that went on after the fact. People under stress will do the strangest, buggiest things.
Humans are dumb. We're good at it.
It's not even the guy that did it wasn't stupid.
No.
He got so much stress going on, and he had drilled into him, pull pin, throw grenade, and his brain just something went wrong, and he just threw the wrong thing. It just so much stress messed him up real bad.
I bet the guy has nightmares to this day.
It would not surprise me. When my turn came to throw the grenade, I was so focused on the process that I have very little idea of, I'm told I did fine. I passed throwing the grenade at the target. Yay. I can't really remember much other than don't fuck this up and drop the grenade. Don't fuck this up and drop the grenade.
It's kind of difficult to enjoy how well you did it when you're so focused on not fucking it up. Because if you fuck it up, you could die.
Yep. It was a very stressful moment. We'll just put it that way.
Oh, Christ. I just remember the scene from Stripes where John Larroquette is yelling at the soldiers to fire that mortar, and they're saying, well, we haven't sighted it in yet. He said, I don't care, fire it. They fire it, and it blows up a piece of the stuff they're using for the jungle gym or whatever the physical thing is the Army does.
The obstacle course is what
obstacle course, thank you. Blows the goddamn sergeant up.
When I was in the 101st Airborne Division, as aviators, we would get the helicopters ready to fly out, and then the crew chiefs would be left basically waiting for them to come back, if that's what they were doing. So we had sent the helicopters off on a field problem, and me and 3 or 4 other people were sitting back at the tent, and we're playing cards, passing some time, and in the background, we were not so far away from an artillery range, and we could hear the artillery firing, and you could hear the rounds going overhead and then impacting the targets way down the range. So it's boom, 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 and then all of a sudden we hear boom, boom, and the tent's like doing this number, and we're all sitting there with our cards like this.
Somebody got the distance wrong.
Somebody goes, short round. What a short round is when they don't put enough powder in. And so the round does not make it the distance that it was supposed to make it.
Dear God.
So we're all sitting there. If we'd have heard a noise, we'd have been in every damn direction. I feel confident just running for our fucking lives.
Yeah. Suddenly I understand why military accidents happen more often than they probably should. There's so much shit can go wrong. Just so much shit can go wrong.
One little mistake.
Or one asshole at the factory that built the shell. Or one machine that wasn't operating.
That's not how artillery shells work. That's not how. Have you ever heard the saying, 3 bags full?
Yeah.
When you do artillery, you load in bags for the naval artillery. You load in bags of gunpowder.
Yeah.
Back behind it there. I don't know. I honestly have never been around a howitzer. I think they use solid rounds.
They use shells.
You never really know what artillery people do. They're kind of crazy. But with naval, it's real easy to get a short round.
Yes.
Because
it's manual.
I left the bag out. Oops.
So long as it goes more than 20 meters before it blows up, I guess you're okay.
I guess the shooter don't care none.
No. he's behind what? How many inches of steel?
There was a story about World War II where some of the Japanese were shooting at some of the battleships that were offshore, and they hit one. It killed a couple of people and damaged the ship. And so the battleship turned its main guns on the island and returned fire with the main guns.
I'll bet that didn't work out well for anybody.
It didn't work out for the people at the target side very well. And then one of the destroyer escort captains signaled to the flagship, "Temper, temper."
Oh, that's nice. I like that. Oh, you're going to try and hit us, huh? Well, we'll just swat you like the fly.
Well, that's what you got? Let's show you what we got.
You hit us with a ball bearing. Here, have a nuke. Jesus Christ.
Oh, no. Here we go.
God, it's like if you attack an island that's like 2 square kilometers in size, there's going to be nothing left. Nothing left if you blast
God,
that.
if you ever read through some of the stories of things that were done during World War II, you talk about this is how people die. There's lots of stories about how this is how people die in these days. Once the shooting starts, some of your ideas of safety first. No, that's bullshit. Coffee's first. Safety's like 4th or 5th, maybe, on a good day.
On a good day. What's the safety thing? We're a fucking war. Oh, that's bad. That's why you're supposed to get trained, right? That's supposed to be second nature. You're not supposed to be trained until it's second nature. You're supposed to be trained to the point to where you can't even imagine making a mistake in doing it. Not trained so you do it right every time. Trained so that a mistake doesn't happen at all, no matter what's going on. Yeah, good luck with that, with all of the things we're doing. Good luck with that. With the 42 steps I have to remember to make this happen, plus I have to worry about mechanical failures and other douchebags not doing their jobs, and yeah, just a little stressful, just a little bit. I can't even fathom what that would be like. They're firing the guns so much that it could knock you off the deck. Just the backwash and pressure wave from the shells being fired off. I just can't even fathom.
Hearing? What's that?
Yeah, no shit. We had a sub, I guess when I was, God, what would I have been? 13, 14? We had a sub who was a P-52 pilot, and he was like 99% deaf. Unsurprising. Yeah. It was just, he told us some stories just like, Jesus Christ. You're old, dude, but damn. He was old.
Stories like that is how we tell interesting stories ourselves. We hear all these crazy, wacky stories.
Anecdotes.
And we go, how can I weave something like that into my story?
How can I grab that, subvert it, change it around, and make it fit?
Because real life is crazier than anything you could come up with.
Charlie Brown and the yeah. Charlie Brown and his story about the oil rig. Yeah, that wasn't the black. The ham. Yeah, you pay attention to what people say. Pay attention to what people do. Pay attention to the crazy shit you hear from your friends, even if you know it's bullshit. Just listen to the imagination they put into it. Mm-hmm. And then go, how can I use that stupid? Or how can I mimic what this person just did or what they said or how they acted?
Did you know that a 2.5-ton truck will bounce once?
When dropped from what height?
I'm not sure. The Chinook was coming in, and it was probably a couple of 100 feet up when it cut loose of the cable. And that deuce and a half bounced back up in the air once, mostly intact, and then just splattered everywhere when it hit the ground the second time.
Which
that first impact must have loosened everything.
Yeah, the first impact really is what destroyed it. It just didn't realize it yet until it hit another 3 feet down, I guess. How far up did it bounce?
Oh, it bounced significantly more than 3 feet.
Wow.
I would have figured, God, how easily 10 feet or more.
Jesus. Yeah, no wonder.
I was safely far distant from this event.
Was this an accident?
This was an accident. They accidentally released the cable early.
So as a taxpayer, I'm fucking pissed because that was like 150, 200,
that was a $2.5 ton truck. You want to talk pissed? The motor pool guys were so pissed because that was a brand new one that had just arrived from the factory. It had less than like 10 miles on it.
Oh,
it was ridiculously new, and then it was ridiculously scrap.
Hello, manufacturer. We have a claim.
Hello? There's something wrong with this deuce and a half you sent us.
See, look at this. It was supposed to be.
These bolts are loose.
It was supposed to be put together. What is this assembly required bullshit? Look at all the spare parts I'm missing. It's like IKEA.
I've heard that
IKEA deuce and a half.
I've heard that the president of IKEA was actually elected to the leadership of Norway.
Really?
He's still putting together his cabinet.
Shut up.
Yikes.
That was
Yikes.
Bad. That was really
I know, it's awful. I stole that from the internet. What can I say?
That you're
the amount of weird military stories I could tell you, while not infinite, I've got my share.
If you hang out with anybody who is in the military or anything like that, firefighting, police, whatever, you're going to get some crazy ass stories about lunatics. Now, they may be perfectly competent lunatics, but they're lunatics nonetheless. And then there are, of course, the incompetent lunatics who nobody can get rid of.
You really do talk, that when you get into the special operators, while safety is very important to them, it may actually be 5th or 6th on their list.
Well, safety might be at the top, but it depends on how you define safety. I define safety as killing the motherfucker before he has a chance to kill me. Now, there you go. There's at the top of your Maslow's pyramid of needs. That's why I carry 14 knives and 7 sidearms and 3 rifles. How do you move?
I never actually got to associate that closely with people who are in special services, but I would be shocked, completely and utterly shocked, if every single one of them didn't have at least 5 knives on them somewhere.
Yeah, I got nothing. I don't know what they actually carry in their packs and everything else, but I wouldn't be surprised if they have more than 1 knife.
I wasn't even assigned to carry a knife as far as being a helicopter crew chief, but I did. So I can only imagine what somebody that loves that kind of thing would carry for themselves.
I've got the one in my sock. I've got the one in my crotch. I've got the one in the back of my ass. I've got the one on my shoulder. I've got the one I'm holding in my teeth. Yeah. Maybe a little overkill.
There is no overkill. There is only reload.
And how do you possibly get through a metal detector with all that shit?
Is that what it says? There's only open fire and reload. That's what it is.
God. That's bad.
I don't know where I heard that either, so I can't tell you.
It definitely sounds like a military saying. Definitely sounds like a military saying.
There is no overkill. There is only open fire and reload.
That's a good one. I like that. I like that a lot. What are we going to do when we run out of ammunition? We'll throw rocks.
Field expedient measures.
It's one of the greatest lines of BSG. It's like, I think it's the second to last episode of the entire series. And one of the guys is like, what do we do when we run out of ammunition? Odama looks at him and goes, we throw rocks.
If you're throwing them from orbit, that can be quite effective.
They didn't have anything to throw from orbit. He was being partially facetious. Basically saying whatever we got left, hand-to-hand combat, knives and small arms, get in there and kill them. That's a crazy episode. Then they fucked the whole series up with the last episode. Anyway, that notwithstanding, listening to people talk, listening to and paying attention to what they do, their facial expressions, listening to the timbre of their voice, tics that they have, ways of speaking, all those things go into character, and all that goes into story, because the story is somewhat limited or reliant upon the characters themselves, at least in my mind. So it's if you're a writer and you're paying attention to those kinds of things, great. If you're not, it's something you probably should spend some time doing. If I want to write a book and get into the mindset of like a modern 15-year-old, I need to go listen to them talk.
Thankfully, you've got YouTube.
Yes, this is true. YouTube helps a lot. YouTube and
otherwise the police take a very dim view on you.
This is the world we live in. I love kids. Okay, I don't have any. I love kids though. And there's a place where I can hang out and read a book in the woods, but there's a playground right next to it. And this is how bad things have gotten. I am not comfortable sitting on that bench because I'm afraid a parent is going to think that the wrong thing. That's an awful place to be in.
I agree.
It's an awful place to be in. And then, of course, even if you go volunteer for something, there's always going to be that, are you that guy? I mean, it just seems like that's always the case. It really kind of drives me bonkers. But I mean, that's another one of those things that you can play with. I played with that in Closet Treats a little bit. The stigma that goes along with it. You can only be at the playground if you have a kid. Okay, great. So I can't watch the kids do what kids do and try and remember what that was like. So I would have to go to, I have to spend more time looking at what they do outside of that kind of thing.
Like I said, YouTube is your friend.
YouTube, streaming, games, all those things are helpful. But it just sucks that you can't, interact the way you used to be able to. It's kind of pathetic, and it hurts in a lot of ways. But, the world has moved on, things have changed, and people have gotten shittier over the years. Or maybe it's just a matter of there are more shitty people than there used to be. Maybe that's what it is. The shittiness stays the same percentage-wise. We're just adding more assholes to it.
Could be. I don't really know one way or the other.
I don't either. All I know is if you want to blow something up unintentionally, you call Terry Mixon, and he will tell you how to pull the pin out of the grenade and then throw the pin.
Yeah.
It won't be what he does. It won't be what he does because he'll do it right. You, on the other hand, you'll do it the way Terry tells you to do it, and then he'll stand back and laugh at you.
I totally would. Don't ignore the power of words that they have on you. Back when I got out of the service, I worked at Mr. Getty's for a while, and we paid the bills. And I was working in the back, and I said, I was asking the coworker, I wonder if anybody's ever, answered this and said Pizza Hut instead of Mr. Getty's. And the phone rang, and I picked it up and said, Pizza Hut. Right.
First you say it, then you do it.
Exactly. I said it, and then I immediately did it.
Yeah, you planned it. You planted that landmine yourself, and then you walked on it.
You properly stepped on it. Exactly so.
That's why you tell somebody, don't ever do this, and then you do it.
The power of suggestion, it's there.
One of the best lines in the Billy Crystal, Gregory Hines version of Running Scared is when they bring in the two rookies, or not rookies, but bring him in, and Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines' characters are retiring, and the captain looks at them and says, "You teach them everything you know." And then he looks at the other guys, the newbies, and he goes, "If I ever find you doing anything they teach you, you're fired."
Thanks. There's probably an element of truth to this.
Yeah, there is. There's the this is the best dude for this job. However, don't do some of the things that he does. Just don't.
He's the best guy at doing this job. Don't tell internal affairs.
Exactly. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody what he does. Don't tell him about the teddy bear that rides shotgun with him in the patrol car. Just let it go. Just let it go. Why can't everybody have a support teddy bear? Can you imagine that? Cops running around with a support teddy bear? I'm kind of liking this idea, actually.
You could like stash a flashbang inside of it for emergencies.
No, what if it's an automaton?
And what will it do?
I don't know. It might be your partner.
Well, there was a cop. The show was, God, what was the show? It had a cop with a robot partner, an artificially intelligent partner.
Yeah, I think another one you're talking
Carl Urban was it Carl Urban? It was a guy that played Bones, I think, was playing the cop. But yeah. I actually liked that show. It was pretty good. What was it again?
The guy who played Bones.
Yeah, in the reboot of Star Trek, Dr. McCoy.
Oh, okay. All right. So you're going to have to be more specific. You say that, and I'm like 50,000 things came to my head. Okay, I know what you're talking about. I remember something about that show. I never watched it.
It only was on for one season.
Yeah.
And I liked it. It didn't make it. That's just the nature of the beast sometimes. Why it made it and Wheel of Time is still on for a second season, I couldn't begin to tell you.
Have you watched it?
I've watched 3 episodes of Wheel of Time. It's, considering the prestige of the property, it's pretty low budget. I'm going to say.
Really?
Pretty low budget.
In what way?
It looks like, you may have had some amateur costuming going on. Your CGI, a little questionable.
Ooh.
And they went ahead and changed major elements of the basic storyline. If you go into this and you watch it for what it is, you're probably not going to be as pissed as the fanboys of the original series that are losing their minds.
Isn't that usually the way it works, though?
In a lot of cases, yeah.
I mean, the purists
Mm-hmm.
just freak the fuck out with anything, but without really thinking about the fact that, okay, we have to try and adapt this, and some of this is not adaptable.
Well, it gets more deeper than that. They changed one aspect of it that didn't need to be changed, and it bothers me simply because I think it was done for reasons that weren't necessary to tell the story. The background, are you even familiar with Wheel of Time?
Shit, no.
No. The basis of this is that at one point in the deep past, there was magic, the source, that men and women could both use to cast spells and do magic. But the Dark One, the bad guy, deific villain of this, infected the male side of this. And if men tried to use the source, they would go mad. So only the women at the time of the books could use magic. If the men tried, they had to be hunted down and stopped because they were a danger to everyone around them. And in the series, they went ahead and told this group of kids that they are asking out that one of them is going to be the Dragon Reborn, the one that brings the magic back. But then they said it could be the guys or the women. I'm like, that was a needless change. You've already specified that women are the only ones that cast it. Saying that the Dragon Reborn could be a woman as well is throwing out an element of the original story that was kind of critical, kind of critical of what they were doing.
Okay, I agree with your comment then. Yeah, because it really wouldn't make sense. That doesn't make sense.
It didn't. It was a nonsensical change that you go, it didn't serve the story that was being told, even in the TV series. They were very clear about the male side of the magic stream being polluted. And so just by saying that it could be a woman casting the spells, that negated what they were doing. And it didn't really make a whole lot of sense for the story. Maybe I've only watched through episode 3. Maybe they'll clear things up a little bit later on, but who knows?
That's very odd.
It was strange.
I would not have made that choice, that's for sure.
There are other things that they've done. They've introduced a character that didn't exist in the original series a couple of times, but I'm forgiving about that sort of thing. I guess that's the only real problem I have thus far, is them playing with who the Dragon Reborn might be.
Who the Quetzalcoatl Haderach is?
Yeah, something like that. Not that I already know which one of the characters it's going to be, because unless they change that too, I've read the first 5 books. I know who the hero of the story is.
First 5 books, Jesus! You never finished them, though, right?
I finished the first 5 books.
Well, I mean the series.
I didn't, because I stopped because it was obvious that it was not going to stop anytime soon. And book 5, a lot of people say it's pretty much a boring. It's a lot of stuff going on, and it wasn't exactly the most exciting of the books.
That's unfortunate. But so else is new.
It is what it is. If you're going to go ahead and folks, we're talking, getting into the weeds of taking one media and translating a story to another media. There are always going to be changes, and those changes are never going to please everyone. But at least try to be true to the story. Try to be like the Dune adaptation, the Dune movie.
Which Dune movie? You'll have to be more specific.
The one that just came out like 2 months ago.
Haven't seen it.
You should. I did not read any of the Dune novels, but I've been told by any number of people online that it is so much more faithful to the storyline being told in the books than it could have been. That it's pretty darn good, and it was a great movie.
I'll think about it. I don't even know if I have whatever channel it's on.
I don't know. Maybe HBO Max, maybe? I don't know. I'm not sure which one it's on now. I saw it in the theaters.
Okay. No, whatever. I've been thinking a lot about that.
Speaking about that, this weekend, today, Dune is back in IMAX. I remember hearing that somewhere because I thought about going because I didn't see it in IMAX.
Have you ever spent a lot of time thinking about how you would adapt your stories for screen or TV?
I have not, because I have no experience with how that would work. So why would I even spend any time doing it? It would just drive me crazy. I'd change this thing here. And then, of course, my change would make no sense to somebody that actually knows what the hell they're doing. So, no, I don't even worry about that. In fact, what is it? The guy that wrote Ready Player One said he went out of his way to make sure that it would be almost impossible to make into a movie. And he failed.
No, he didn't. I think he succeeded. They just went ahead and put a name on it and created a pile of shit.
He shouldn't have wrote that second book. The second book did him no favors.
Haven't read it.
You're not missing a whole lot.
I think
first book was amazing. Yeah. Second book,
I don't see. When I finished that book, I didn't see a reason for a second at all. I just didn't see a reason for it, which is why I was kind of shocked when years later he comes out with a second one. It didn't make any sense to have another one for me personally. The magic's kind of gone, right? You've seen it. It's been solved. It's over. That character's journey is at an end, as far as I'm concerned.
I would agree with that. I don't think that the second book did the character or the writer any favors.
Again, unfortunate. But I have been thinking about this because it's like, all right, so if I was going to write the black as a screenplay, well, how would I do it? What characters do I need to cut? What do I need to combine a character or two? And then there are other things. There's you have to create some action and some other stuff to make up for the dead time.
Here's what you need to do. You need to go hire a bunch of LARPers to go ahead and live action role play your novel while you're filming it with your iPhone. With the cheesiest costuming they can come up with the cheesiest monster costuming you can come up with, because, you know, at least that would be amusing. Any movie you made that was actually trying to be serious would be a complete and utter flop. Don't go there.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, definitely. No, I actually, when you said that, I had a vision of somebody sitting under a huge piece of black crepe paper going, yeah.
Exactly. That would be amazing, wouldn't it? If you actually just embrace the idea of, this is a movie we're going to make right here.
So bad. Well, if you really wanted to be highfalutin, you'd make it the green screen with the person moving around. And it's pretty easy in Final Cut to just go ahead and put whatever backdrop or change it, and we can just basically make it into a huge pile of tar.
No. That's trying too hard. You need to go ahead and go the low tech route, where it's like,
the lower the tech, the better.
The lower tech, the better. What is that? That's a pile of straw that's been spray painted black and somehow glued together that he's running around in.
I also like the idea, whenever you see the actors, the lights are really bright. And whenever you see the black, it's like in the same room, it's just barely visible. So light just kind of changes around.
See, that would be fun, because people would be watching like, oh yes, this is great. This is great.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, this is terrifying. And then I just had, of course, an idea of the black as a porno. And yeah, that just went out the window. Well, we were talking about amateur acting, bad sets, bad costuming, made for nothing. So maybe you should just go ahead and,
maybe you shouldn't hire LARPers. Maybe you should hire out-of-work porn actors. Not to have sex, just to act.
Just to act. Oh, Jesus Christ. You just hurt my soul. You so hurt my soul.
Stop. Put your clothes back on. This isn't this kind of movie. Put your clothes back on, sir.
Put the sausage back in the bun, okay?
That's not the knife we gave you, sir. Put that back in your pants.
It's a billy club, not a... Never mind. Oh yeah, it's 4:30. We've lost it.
That would be a great movie. You know, that would actually trend on YouTube, I'm pretty sure.
Oh my God, yeah, it probably would. The dumber you make it, that would just be incredible. That would just be incredible. I don't have time for that shit, but it would be absolutely hilarious. It would be hilarious.
Tell Charlie Brown you'll give him $200 to make the black.
Like
that's his entire budget.
His entire budget. Hey, Charlie, once you make this movie, you're gonna write it, you're gonna direct it, you're gonna do everything. Here's $200 for the budget.
He'll spend it all in one place.
Well, how'd it go? Well, it was $150 spent on beer, so we only have $50 for production.
No, he went ahead and produced the whole thing in the bar with drunk patrons.
Oh, I love that idea. I actually love that idea. Just go into a bar and just start picking up people going, hey, we're going to make a movie. And then be like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then just like have 3 people wandering around with iPhones and tripods and everything else, and people just wigging out all over the place. That would be fucking hilarious.
That would be great.
That's a great prank. That's a great troll. And of course, it wouldn't be a troll. We're actually making a movie out of this. You're going to be on YouTube.
We're live streaming this movie on YouTube right now.
Oh my God. That would be asking for some trouble. That would be asking for some trouble. First time a woman takes her top off, yeah, then you're going to have real problems on YouTube.
Yeah, probably so.
That's going on YouTube, huh? Yeah. Okay.
I've got to ask. First you're going with pornos, now you're going with topless women. Is there something wrong, Paul? Is there something wrong in your life?
I'm 50. We've reached the dirty old man stage.
Apparently we have.
No, but on YouTube, you're not allowed to have nudity. That's what my point was. You can't do that.
All right.
I don't think.
Sure.
I don't think. I haven't looked at the rules on that. I don't know if you could do that as an adult stream or not. I don't think you can, though. I don't think you can. I think you have to go to OnlyFans for that. I could be wrong.
There you go. The black OnlyFans site.
Oh, my God. Oh. It's fucking awful. The M2 has an OnlyFans. That's sick and wrong and twisted beyond belief. No. In a word, no. I think you should spend some time someday just idly, not for any serious, not with the intention of doing it, but sitting down and actually going through the exercise of looking at one of your stories and thinking about how it would work as a TV show, a TV episode, or a short film. I think you'd be surprised. Like I said, I don't think it's something you necessarily have to do seriously. It is something I'm going to do seriously at some point, but
all right.
Just going through the process and thinking about it kind of gives you a different perspective on some things.
But I don't need a different perspective. I like telling my stories the way I tell my stories.
Yes, but to grow, you have to at least, consider other possibilities.
Okie dokie.
Nah, my 2 cents. You'll ignore my advice anyway, because it's way.
I ignore every other piece of advice you give me, so why not this one too?
Yeah, and I wish I'd ignored most of the advice you'd ever given me. So there we go.
This is a change of subject. I see a sticky that I have stuck on the desk here, reminding me of a story that I have due for an anthology next year, early next year.
Right.
And I got the information over the middle of last week of exactly what the anthology's background was so that I could start formulating an idea for what the story would be to fit inside of it. Okay. And it's interesting because it's set in the Four Horsemen universe. Right. They have an organization called the Peacemakers, who are basically what amounts to the law enforcement arm, but really their main function is contract enforcement, because contracts are what sets the union up.
Everything is based on contracts.
Everything is based on contracts. So the story is very specific about a repository of, I don't know what you'd call it, unsolved cases that the Peacemakers have of contract disputes, things that have ended up there for whatever reasons. And I was thinking about that, and I was like, what if I have a story about a contract between a wealthy family somewhere that they sold the rights to tell the story of one of their black sheep of their family that was a criminal of some kind to a conglomerate, as like optioning the stories the way we do now.
Yeah. And
later on, the family decides that they'd really rather they had not done that. And the company also is like, we don't really intend to do anything with this option. So you'd figure that'd be the end of it. But the contract is written in such a way as the way to stop it is you just don't make payment and it expires. Some unknown third party continues
to make the payments.
And so both parties have petitioned the Peacemakers saying, we need to find a way out of this. And they're like, sorry, contract's working as specified, not a problem. And so that's my story, is digging into what the hell is going on there.
This sounds like a bureaucratic nightmare, especially if you can't figure out who's paying it because it's coming in blind.
It's coming in a way that's untraceable.
Yeah.
Somebody is going out of their way to hide their identity and continue to give this case, like I forget what I called it in the email, something along the lines of the case of the unterminable contract or the unexpectedly durable contract or something ridiculous like that.
The impenetrable, the invulnerable, the forever contract, the doomsday contract.
But it's interesting. I find that if I'm given a sandbox to play in, that I will go right to where the wonkiest shit is inside the sandbox and go, that's the story I'm going to write.
I'm kind of finding myself doing the same thing.
Now I got to look and see what I called that damn thing.
That is one thing that's kind of cool about writing for the anthologies, especially the ones that we've been hanging with, is once you know what the background is, it's like, okay, do I have any ideas for that? And usually they immediately pop into my head, 3 or 4 of them. Then there's one I fall in love with, and that's the one that I submit. And then the
curious case of the self-perpetuating contract is what I called it.
Oh, God. It's like a perpetual motion machine, only legal.
Exactly.
It's really not perpetual, though. Somebody keeps feeding it money.
Digging into the whys of that is going to be fun for a short story.
Yeah, is this going to be politics? Is there crime? Is there some other angle going on? Do you have a clue yet?
I do.
Okay. All right.
I'm not going to reveal the clue.
Yeah, I don't need.
I know what I already know what the answer is.
Okay.
And it's obvious when you look at these things, there has to be a reason someone wants it to continue.
Yes.
And so that's the answer to any detective thing is you look for motive. And that's what the investigators are going to do in this cold case is look at the motives and try to figure out who has something to gain here and try to figure out what it is. It's not something that they have to solve because the peacemakers have already turned down the thing saying it's not our problem.
Yeah,
it's a curiosity that someone is going to dig into in their own time because they just want to know the answer. You just want to know the answer.
It's a financial contractual version episode of the X-Files.
Something like that. And at the end of it, I've already figured this out. At the end of it, one of the characters can say, so were we going to tell them? No. Contract's working specified.
We solved the mystery. Solve the mystery. Tell no one.
We've solved the mystery. Tell no one. That's exactly what I'm going to do.
That's a dick move. It's like in the Jim Carrey Grinch Solve World Hunger. Tell no one. Just love that. Not really a fan of Jim Carrey, but they did a pretty good job with the Grinch.
Yeah.
There was some funny shit in there. That was great.
It's really weird. I don't recall having seen him in a lot of anything in the last, I don't know how many years. It's like he just dropped out of everything, out of sight.
He took time off to do stuff. I don't know what he's doing, but I know he took time off.
I haven't spared him a single thought in like 10 years. So that's kind of, I'm like, wait a minute, that name's familiar. Where's he been? What's he been doing?
Nobody knows. Nobody cares. Actually, I think he did something a couple of years ago, or maybe recently. I don't remember. Anyway, who knows? I just thought that was really funny. Solve world hunger, tell no one. Just total dick move.
It's a total Grinch move right there.
Yeah, total Grinch move, yeah. It's also goes under highly dick move. Dude, I wish I could show you what this cat is doing. Oh my God. I was not aware that was a position you could be comfortable in. Jesus Christ. I'm pretty sure cats could sleep in a tiny, tiny little box and have no problem with it.
Yeah, pretty much.
They're just fucking weird.
I have boxes on the floor in here from when I unpacked the gaming books, and I've got one cat laying on a piece of paper and another one sleeping in the box.
when we moved back from Colorado, we spent like a month or two in my parents' house, and we had to bring in Frankie. My parents had never had a cat in the house before, and they were like cats, but we really couldn't do anything else with Frankie. And she was like maybe a year and a half old. And so we'd leave, grocery bags out, the paper ones, because she'd hide in there.
Mm-hmm.
My dad came home and he kicked one of them.
Oh,
not expecting the cat to be in there. Yeah, that didn't work out so well.
I bet not.
It did not work out so well. What are you doing? Have you had your nap and now you're ready to create mischief, or is it because you smell mommy cooking something?
She says, hungry, Dad, as a cat.
You're going to let me do this? No, you're going to fight it. You're going to fight it. You're going to fight it.
Just no, Dad, not the loves. I gotta hide them.
There he is. There he is. Look at that. Look at him. Look at him. Oh, he's so cute. And now he's gone.
Just we're done here.
Well, every time I hold him, I try and make sure it's for something good. Like if I've got wet food for the dog, he gets his tribute. He gets a little forkful. Just kind of stuff clinging on there because that's the shadow tax. So if he doesn't come for it immediately, I go and pick him up and take him to it to get him the idea that when I pick him up, it's not a bad thing, right?
He doesn't believe you.
He doesn't believe me. He doesn't believe me. Evidently, I have failed as a cat parent, but I don't know that there are many successful cat parents. I don't think you can get this cat to climb on you.
I have gotten cats that people said you cannot get this cat to positively interact with you. I have done it.
Oh, he positively interacts. He positively interacts. He's just a lunatic. It's actually really odd when Luna's not around. He's a completely different cat, which is odd. Which is why I think his personality is going to undergo massive change once Luna's gone. So we'll see. It's winter, though. He's snuggly. Or it's getting toward winter, getting toward fall. Of course, now I think tomorrow is going to be 80 or 78 or some shit.
Welcome to Texas.
Yeah, and then December, 31st, we'll have 14 feet of snow here.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be an option.
I don't know. We got some last year.
Yeah, nothing close to, a foot, much less 14 feet.
I can dream, right? I can dream.
God, can you imagine what would happen if they had 2 feet of snow dumped on Houston?
We saw that Hawaii got a foot, right?
I did not know.
Hawaii got a foot of snow. They had a massive cold front come in there, and the mountains got completely plastered, as did the rest of the island, apparently. Yeah, I did not know that could happen.
I totally think that it would be really awesome to see a video of an active lava field being snowed on.
I'll bet that makes some noise. I'll bet that does. I bet it would
be a different sort of thing. Yeah.
Huh. Wow, that'd be cool. Well, now I think about it, they're just watching a rainstorm on an active lava field.
A rainstorm would be much more active.
Yes.
As far as the stuff hitting it.
Yes. Snow would be, well, it depends on how hard the snow is falling. But
it would melt before it got to it. It would be drops of water by the time it got to it. So, yeah. But it's just an interesting writer thought. You say things like, "Oh, I wonder what that would look like."
I don't even want to know what it looked like. I want to know what it would sound like. I'm more interested in
frying bacon.
Well, I'm not familiar with that sound at all. I'm just honestly curious what that would sound like if it was completely quiet except for that.
Oh, speaking of, sound, this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but the audiobook Audible prompted me saying, "Oh, Mount Fitzroy, an audiobook is out."
Mm-hmm.
So apparently it's out.
Yes, it is out, as well as the paperback.
Now I'll have to go ahead and listen to the first one and refresh my memory. It's been too long since I listened to Earthcore.
I honestly can't decide if I like the Earth Core better than Fitzroy or not. I really haven't decided. I think actually I like the characters better in Fitzroy than I do in the first one.
Well,
I don't know why that is.
Was at the beginning of his career. He's matured as a story.
Well, okay. There's the other thing. All right. There's the Earth Core that was podcast, and there's the Earth Core that was published, and they are not the same at all.
So it's not just updated; it's actually rewritten.
Portions of it, yeah.
Okay.
Portions of it. And of course, he changed the ending.
Obviously,
yeah. I mean, it's mostly intact, but there were a few things that changed, and it changed the book. Not necessarily in a bad way; it just changed the book. But Fitzroy, I think, just had better characters. I think it just had better characters.
Okay.
It had a hell of a lot more action. I can tell you that much.
Well, a lot of Earth Core was mystery. Trying to figure out the why of.
And so is this, only the mystery gets even deeper, but then it gets really fucking terrifying because of everything that they're facing off with. But the first one, the creatures were really scary. The Roctopi are really terrifying. And the second one, you get an idea of what happened to make that happen. And it's a cool premise. It's a cool idea. And everything he does in Fitzroy just kind of like melds together the first book with this one. It's actually pretty damn good, and I love the way it ended. That is one of the most harsh endings ever for a character. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
As Paul works his best to try to convince Terry not to listen to that book.
No. It's a great book. The ending is perfect. It's not violent. But it is the best end for a character ever, especially that fucking asshole. We'll leave it at that. How about that?
Okay, I can buy that.
It is, when I heard the last couple paragraphs of the story, I was just like, oh, damn. So, yeah, I think you'll like it. I think you'll like it a lot. It's a good book. They're both good books. Both really good books. It is 4:40 or 4:50. Shit. It is 16.
Welcome to the podcast where those motherfuckers can't shut up.
Especially that motherfucker I'm looking at, and especially the motherfucker you're looking at.
We really need to get out of the house more often. By the way, I should terrify you now that my wife has selected your Christmas gift.
Oh, God. I don't need a Christmas gift.
Oh, I think you do need this.
I don't need any gifts.
Oh, I think differently.
Oh, God. One of these days, you're going to end up getting a mystery box with no sender address on it.
It's already happened before.
Yes.
Somebody has already sent my wife a little refrigerator magnet of a cat lady starter kit with like 6 magnetic cats in it. So it's already happened at least once.
I love that. That's good. I like that a lot.
It was no, but she's already decided. I was like, oh man, you've ordered these things. So what are we gonna do? It's just like, obviously we're gonna have to go have lunch because I want to see his face when he opens this box.
Oh, fuck.
I'll whip out the phone.
Means I got to see you clowns again this year? Fuck.
No, it's going to be after. She's allergic to poinsettias, so traveling around is a bad idea. So she's also having cataract surgery in mid-January to take a cataract out of one eye. So I'm thinking your gift is going to be delayed until sometime like mid-February.
Okay. That's no problem. That's no problem. And I really wouldn't mind seeing you guys before then. You know, just giving you shit. I was actually thinking about the poinsettia problem yesterday because my neighbors have one outside.
Outside is not nearly as much problem as inside an enclosed area.
Yeah, I know. But still, I was looking at that going, God damn it. Because I immediately thought of Donna. I was like,
poinsettia are everywhere.
Just bang, bang. Oh,
she doesn't get to go out very much until the new year is over.
It seems that the Mexican restaurants around here are almost the worst about the poinsettias. I could be wrong.
There is an element to that I don't really know the history of it, but it seems like poinsettias and Catholicism from south of the border is a very strong thing. There's some kind of linkage between poinsettias and the Catholic faith.
Okay, well, that would make sense then. It just seems like whenever this time of year, if I go anywhere near a Mexican restaurant, there's like 50,000 poinsettias sitting at the entrance.
Luckily, Gringo's doesn't have any, so we don't have to worry about that. We can still go to Gringo's.
That's good. Maybe they got the memo.
Maybe so.
Maybe they got the memo. I don't know. We should probably cut this off now that we have babbled about everything under the sun and nothing useful.
Well, hopefully they got something useful out of this.
Well, yes, they got to hear about how to throw a grenade. You pull the pin and you throw the pin. And you drop the grenade on your foot. Or better yet, on the drill sergeant's foot.
You got to know that was the most exciting moment of his day.
Oh, yeah, until they had to. I'm sure after something like that, you're like, I have 40 more of these assholes to take through this. The first one nearly blew me up. Well, that's a stressful job. I don't think I'd have any hair by the time I was over with.
It is a graduation requirement to successfully throw a live grenade. So that poor bastard had to go through it again at some point.
Again. Oh, man. Come on, SARS. Doesn't throwing the pin count?
Nope.
It'd be really hilarious if he said, yeah. You're so hopeless. Get out of here. Well, if you would like...
hang on. I think the way that this had to work, I didn't actually see it with my thing there, is I think that the drill sergeant tackled him outside of the box. So both of them went over the little short wall to be on the other side when the thing went off. I think that's actually how it worked out.
Still. Jesus Christ. Well, if you'd like to tell Terry how to properly throw a grenade, you can send an email to show@deadrobotsociety.com. You can tweet me at Paul_E_Cooley. You can find us on Facebook at the listeners of the Dead Robot Society Facebook group, which Terry wrangles. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/DRS podcast to see our ugly mugs and so many goddamn cats you just can't possibly fathom all.
One cat today.
Just one.
Cat.
I know. You're slacking. It's awful. We have to thank our wonderful host, Pod Hoster, who makes all 14 bazillion episodes of the Dead Robot Society available for your ear holes. And if you'd like to support the show, you can find us at patreon.com/DRS podcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you get access to mostly unexpurgated shows, live shows, and other nonsense. And if you're at the $10 level, you get your name read. And our $10 patrons are Summer Wilson, Tony L. Joy, Andrew Smallwood, Veronica Jaguar, Rick Shaw, Lisa Slack, Chris Winder, and Isabel Cushy. Thank you to all of our patrons for your support. You make this show possible.
Thank you so much.
And with that, we have one more little item we have to take care of. Terry and I are caffeine junkies.
More so this last few days.
Yeah, more so last few days. I've been pulling all-nighters, baby.
I had to go through a CPAP test, which meant that I couldn't use my CPAP, a at-home sleep study. So I had to sleep with the equipment on and no CPAP for 2 nights in a row. So I'm like, whoa.
So you didn't really get any sleep is what you're telling me. Well, because Terry has no sleep, he relies upon our wonderful sponsor, Corpse Coffee, who makes wonderful coffees. They make wonderful boutique teas, have a great webcomic. If you'd like to go support a small business and get some badass caffeine, go up to corpsecoffee.com and tell them DRS sent you. Get the dead in your cup. Okay, now that we've taken care of all the ending nonsense, do you have any words of wisdom to impart?
Do not throw the pen.
Do not throw the pen. And with that, we are out of here, folks. Just remember, don't throw the pen. Say goodbye, Terry.
Bye, Terry.
So hopeless.